Caitlin Clark new product and collection with the new CC Nike logo will be dropping soon. We gonna get into all of it.
WNBA pick Caitlin Clark, her first pro game 10 days away, but even before she makes her pro debut, she has a major Nike deal on the line.
Okay, so get this, Caitlin Clark just completely shook up the WNBA world. She landed a massive, record-breaking $50 million deal with Nike. And on top of that, she dropped her own CC logo and some new sneakers that fans are already going absolutely wild for.
So it's finally here. It's finally here. The Caitlin Clark logo. I just realized I haven't even put on my light.
But here's the real kicker. The wild part of this whole story. She truly stunned everyone. Caitlin actually used her incredible contract power to hook up her teammate, Sophie Cunningham, with her very own shoe and a sub deal. Can you believe that?
She's number 1 and 2 in every offensive stat. She's hitting more threes this season than Steph Curry did in his first.
Listen, we're not just talking about some big deal here. We're talking about a record-shattering $50 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $50 million. That number alone just screams where the real influence and power in women's basketball is right now. Remember how the Associated Press first tried to downplay it, saying it was just an 8-year, $28 million contract? Well, nope. Nike later confirmed the full $50 million value once you factor in all those performance bonuses and endorsements.
Well, Caitlin Clark could be breaking another record, this time with an endorsement deal. The Associated Press says Clark will soon be signing an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike.
And honestly, with the way Clark is carrying this entire league on her back, she's going to hit every single one of those bonuses without even breaking a sweat. What's even crazier, what's almost hilarious, is that some NBA veterans who've been grinding for years and years don't even come close to that kind of money. But here we are, a WNBA rookie just a few months into her professional career, and she's already secured one of the biggest sneaker deals in basketball history. That's not just groundbreaking, it's honestly a bit humiliating for the rest of the league.
Referees, are they ever gonna call a foul? Y'all gonna call a foul? Did you swallow your whistle?
Now, the timing of all this just makes it even sweeter. She drops this huge announcement just months into her pro career, way before the 2026 season even kicks off. Seriously, think about that. Before she's even fully adjusted to playing in the league, she's already dominating the headlines. Who else in the WNBA could possibly do that? Nobody. Let's be real with each other. This isn't just some standard athlete endorsement anymore. This is a full-blown takeover. Caitlin Clark just proved to the entire world that the only thing keeping the WNBA relevant, even remotely, is her name being attached to it.
This is their best record in over 10 years.
And honestly, the whole league could just disappear tomorrow. But her Nike deal guarantees that she'll still be the undeniable face of women's basketball globally. Tell me that isn't the biggest slap in the face for the WNBA's so-called stars, who can barely sell a jersey without it being on a clearance rack. But anyway, let's talk about the birth of the CC brand. Because Nike didn't just throw money at Caitlin Clark. They basically handed her an empire. She jumped on X, dropped the new CC logo, and teased the CC3 sneakers, which are set to launch in 2020. And let me tell you, that logo had people absolutely losing their minds. Fans are already lining up, ready to buy stuff that hasn't even been released yet. We're talking about t-shirts, hats, pants, socks, literally everything.
The new Caitlin Clark logo is out. She took to Twitter and said, tune in, logo collection coming.
And get this, people want everything that's coming soon. The shoes themselves are projected to sell out instantly. And you know why? Because unlike most WNBA merch that just ends up gathering dust in bargain bins, Caitlin's gear actually has real demand. She is, quite literally, the only player in this league who can move products like this. Think about Kobe Bryant and his PEs. Now Caitlin Clark is stepping right into that lane with her own signature line. That's what you call a generational handoff. Honestly, the WNBA should be throwing her a parade every single week just for keeping them alive.
Talking about Caitlin.
Oh, that logo is fire. That logo is fire. Let's go.
And get this, there was a rumored first release, where 13,000 pairs of Caitlin Clark's Nike sneakers were snatched up in a single day, back on June 30th, 2025. 13,000 pairs, just gone. Like that. You know what that means? She's already proving her incredible commercial pull before the official 2026 launch even happens.
The situations that we were put in for, injuries or, coach it not being here for a couple games too. Like everybody's been through a little bit of adversity here. So I think just giving our group credit for being able to stick together and, know that whatever's in our locker room is really all we need to go up.
Honestly, when have we ever seen this kind of excitement in women's basketball? When was the last time anyone cared this much about a WNBA player's shoes? Exactly. Never. Caitlin's merch is about to become a genuine cultural phenomenon, not just a sports thing. And the sad part, the league had years to build something like this with their so-called faces of the league, but none of them ever moved the needle. Caitlin shows up, and in one season, she just blows past all of them. The CC brand, frankly, is basically exposing how irrelevant the rest of the WNBA truly is.
Number 1 is Sabrina's in WNBA logos. Number 2, I'm giving Angel Reese the logo, the number 2 logo. But there is a but. This is 100 times better than the Angel Wilson logo. This is 1,000,000 times better than the Angel Wilson logo.
But wait, there's more. And this part, this is where Caitlin Clark completely changed the game. Let's talk about the Sophie Cunningham shock. Everyone at that Nike event in Indianapolis expected it to be the Caitlin show. All eyes on her, all the attention on her massive contract. But nope, she pulls off what might be the most unexpected assist of her entire career. Instead of hogging the spotlight, she actually brings her teammate Sophie Cunningham into the deal. Yeah, you heard me right. Caitlin literally used her contract power to shine a light on Sophie. What WNBA player has ever done that? Absolutely no one.
But obviously WNBA eyes. Reebok could never. WNBA misses you. Caitlin Clark signature shoe only 2 years overdue.
So Nike showed off this custom Sophie PE sneaker in those fever colors with no backing down, stitched right on the heel. That phrase fits perfectly because Sophie has been Caitlin's bodyguard since day one. And this wasn't just some PR stunt either. Sophie actually signed a sub-deal directly under Caitlin's own Nike endorsement. Let me say that again because it's genuinely insane. Sophie Cunningham is now officially tied into Clark's Nike deal because Caitlin made it happen. That is history right there. That's the first time in the WNBA anyone has used their endorsement clout to directly bring another teammate into a deal. And it didn't come from the league. It didn't come from the owners. It didn't come from the sponsors. It came straight from Caitlin Clark. She basically said, if I'm eating, my teammate is eating too. But here's the thing. Away from all of Caitlin's amazing news, the WNBA itself is looking like it's about to collapse under its own pure stupidity. The league and the players' union have until October 31st, 2025 to ratify a new collective bargaining agreement, and sources are already saying a deal looks increasingly unlikely. That means there's a very real chance of a strike or a lockout that could totally cancel the entire 2020. Only the WNBA could take the biggest surge of attention in its history, all thanks to Clark, and still manage to screw it all up with boardroom nonsense. While Caitlin is out here building a global brand, the people running this league are acting like they're trying to run the clock out instead of actually negotiating.
And it says new CBA by October 31st deadline appears increasingly
Now, what are these players even asking for? It's not like they're demanding the world. Their demands are incredibly straightforward. They want better revenue sharing, actual benefits that don't look like something out of a minimum wage job, roster expansions, so more players can actually make a living, and workplace standards that aren't embarrassing for a supposed professional league. But instead of making any real progress, the WNBA just drags its feet like it's allergic to treating its players like professionals. Compare that to the NBA, where players get about 50% of the basketball-related income. The WNBA, their salary cap grows at a pathetic, fixed rate of just 3% a year. 3%! That's not growth, that's pocket change. It's like the league is telling players, congratulations, here's a tip for all your hard work. Meanwhile, they're sitting on an 11-year, $2.2 billion media rights deal and expansion fees of $250 million each. from new franchises coming to Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia. The money is absolutely there. It's just not being shared with the people who are actually playing the games. And that's the absurd part. This league acts completely broke while it's cashing billion-dollar checks. The NBA figured out years ago that paying players fairly actually fuels the product. The WNBA still thinks holding back nickels and dimes is a smart business model. So what happens? That October 31st deadline just creeps closer and closer. The players get angrier, and the threat of a lockout just keeps growing. It's almost like the league genuinely wants to sabotage its own momentum.
As the WNBA Women's National Basketball Players Association have just over 60 days to ratify a new collective bargaining agreement, and it looks increasingly like the October 31st deadline will come and go without a deal.
Okay, so here's where the real head-scratcher comes in. This whole tension between growth and exploitation. This is where the hypocrisy really jumps out at you. Caitlin Clark has absolutely lifted the WNBA to record-breaking heights. The 2025 All-Star Game drew 3.4 million viewers. That's the most watched in league history. Every single time she steps on the court, arenas sell out. Her jersey sales, her merch, her overall impact are at levels this league has never even dreamed of. But while she's dragging the WNBA into relevance, the owners are busy just insulting the very players who make the product worth watching. Their latest move? Offering a pay increase of 4 times the current amount. Sounds great on paper, right? Until you realize the players called it exactly what it was. A slap in the face. If the money looks good, but the structure of the league stays completely broken, it's still disrespect. And that's exactly what this was. Disrespect disguised as generosity.
This was, I believe, Caitlin Clark's last game in the WNBA. And then also, of course, the WNBA All-Star Game had 3.4 million viewers, and that's the most watched WNBA.
And you know it's bad when even the biggest names, players like Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, are openly calling these negotiations a complete waste of time. When your star players are publicly saying it's pointless, that's when you know the whole process is just rotten to its core. Fans are supposed to be getting hyped about the future, but instead, they're watching millionaires and billion-dollar owners argue like toddlers while the clock just ticks closer and closer to a complete shutdown. And the worst part? Caitlin Clark is right in the middle of all this. She's out there building a cultural empire with Nike. She's doing more to grow the sport than the league itself, and yet, the WNBA could just implode right during her prime year. Imagine finally getting a superstar who can put you on the map, and instead of riding that wave, the league somehow finds a way to drown itself. That's the WNBA in a nutshell, honestly.
Made it her business to repost Nike dropping her logo. Now, we all know this is long overdue, bro. Long overdue.
So, let's bring it back to Caitlin Clark's Nike deal. Because, let's be honest, it's not just about the cash. That $50 million contract is a blueprint shift, a real game changer in women's sports. She didn't just secure the bag for herself, she proved that influence isn't just about scoring points. It's about actually using your platform to change the entire game. She already showed that when she lifted Sophie Cunningham into her deal, basically forcing Nike to market authenticity and loyalty instead of just the usual cookie-cutter PR. She's rewriting the rules of what true power in women's sports really looks like. But here's the dark cloud hanging over everything. Her prime years could be totally wasted if the WNBA can't even figure out a basic contract with its players.
In the city, and I think, there's already been so much time, effort put in by so many people that, aren't going to get credit for what they did to bring All-Star here. So, trying to make it the best All-Star the WNBA has ever had. I know we'll certainly do that. But
seriously, think about this for a second. The one player who single-handedly turned the WNBA into must-watch basketball, the one rookie who's selling out arenas, breaking ratings records, and dropping shoes that fly off the shelves, her entire career could be derailed by incompetent leadership. The shadow of a work stoppage hangs over everything right now. Fans don't care about the nitty-gritty details of revenue sharing or all that legal jargon. All they truly know is they want to watch Caitlin Clark play. And if the league can't deliver that, it's game. The WNBA has 2 very clear paths in front of it right now. Either launch into a new golden era with Caitlin leading the way, or completely collapse into irrelevance with a lockout that proves once and for all it just can't handle success.